These Democrats, they call us violent. They just shot our president.
Then when he turned his face, you could see from his ear coming down.
This cameraman was the intended assassin to kill Donald Trump, plain and simple.
You think Thomas Cook was a decoy?
I think Thomas Cook is 100% a decoy.
Thomas Crook. Who was he?
That a CIA member? Wait, is that a real CIA member? What's SF Sniper? Wait, is this the guy that killed Thomas Crooks? Oh, former CIA. How the f did Tommy G get a Secret Service member? Damn, they went back to the spot.
On July 13th, Thomas Crooks attempted to
Tommy G's a grinder.
assassinate Donald Trump. In the immediate aftermath, our government officials have given us little to no meaningful information, and because of this, many conspiracy theories have arisen. To investigate the Trump assassination attempt properly, I assembled a dream team of experts. First up, Andrew Bustamante, an ex-CIA agent who spent 7 years in covert operations around the world. Next, Danny Hall, an elite special ops sniper who operated with the Green Berets and Delta Force and was the recipient of the prestigious Silver Star. Then we got Charlie Butt, a man who spent nearly 2 decades in the Secret Service and guarded the likes of President Clinton and both President Bushes. And finally, Senator Ron Johnson, the man who is spearheading the investigation into the Trump assassination attempt. We also talked to former classmates of Thomas Crooks and people
How the f did bro get the former
who
classmates?
sat 20 feet from Donald Trump at his Butler rally. Throughout this episode, we will investigate the various conspiracies surrounding this assassination attempt in an effort to discover the truth of what happened that day. But first, a quick disclaimer.
Tommy G has just asked me to tell you that he is not suicidal and that he very much enjoys his life because he is mildly nervous that federal agencies might try to assassinate him.
And I approve
Ain't no way.
this message.
My name is Andrew Blue.
You could say that in a video and that the government don't give a f on God. They'll still kill you, bro.
Bustamante. I'm a former CIA intelligence
It's just the
officer.
sad part, like,
I spent
nobody
7
can do
years
anything
working
about it.
undercover with the National Clandestine Service from 2007 to 2014 before I got out and rejoined the civilian world.
Former?
Yeah. Yes, former CIA.
Imagine he's still a CIA agent. He low-key slipped up. He pulls back up to Tommy G's house. He's like, you're going to need to delete that video right now.
Charlie Butt. I'm a retired Secret Service agent. Previous experience as a special agent for U.S. Customs Service. Spent 28 years as an agent, and I'm here to discuss the events of July the 13th and the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump.
Isn't that crazy when you think about it? Like, they really try to assassinate Trump. Sick bastard.
4 years Ranger, got out, went to college, became a computer programmer, hated it, went back in the military, became a Green Beret, and then
Oh, this used to kill people. He probably killed civilians
How many
too.
missions did you go on while you were...
Oh yeah, death machine gun? What the f? This nigga was catching heads, bro.
In 9 months, yeah.
You won
This was catching heads.
You took out 17 enemies with your... with that.
That's what they say.
That's insane. Quest to discover who was Thomas Crook. What was he like? What did people think of him? What did he do? What did his daily life look like? We're heading first to the nursing home you worked at. This is the place that he worked. And a classmate of his even said, hey, I saw him.
That's like a
walking to
Detroit
work
song bar.
It is hard to imagine a guy that was working with seniors is now front page news for trying to kill a former president.
Ain't that some?
We have a man we gotta discover. Thomas Crook. Who was he?
Oh my God, he's not black? Nah, imagine.
This is a guy who history would have never remembered, and now we're going to be talking about him for a long time. So one thing that's interesting to me is that
Thomas Crooks is really going to be on the history books now. Isn't that crazy? Like, he's going to be on the history books for trying to assassinate. The same way the nigga that assassinated Abraham Lincoln is on the history books. John Willis. But yeah.
he comes from a medical
John
background.
Wilkes Booth.
He worked here in nursing and rehabilitation as a dietary aide. So what that tells me is that somehow he had a heart for helping people. And yet this
He was on
guy
Inside
ended up on a
Edition
roof with a weapon trying to assassinate a former president.
But
We're getting conflicting reports. On one end, you hear people that say he was kind, polite, nice, quiet. Other reports say he was a loner, strange, and he is that guy that they got the school shooter vibes from. We're gonna talk to a couple of his classmates and see if we can get a better picture.
it's crazy. All the that look like him now are cooked.
Get, like, chills hearing about it. Just a kid's name that I had graduated with, and I don't think really anyone saw it coming. He was a respectful kid. The way that he carried himself, he was very quiet, like, to himself. But
That nigga ugly as
f***. Very smart. Cared about
Damn.
school.
I heard he
That
won
sucks.
a math award.
Yeah, he was very good at, academics. It was what he cared about. He pursued, he wanted to go after high school for like a computer engineering degree.
Was he one of the smartest kids in the grade, would you say?
Yeah, I would say that.
Some of the stuff that's going on in the news is, oh, he was bullied.
He was bullied almost every day. He would
Oh.
sit alone at lunch.
Oh, that's
He was just an outcast, and you know how kids are nowadays, and it's honestly kind of sad.
Nah, I wouldn't have bullied him. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not a type of nigga that just, like, I don't get it. Like, I be watching the movies and I be seeing, like, really pick on, like, ugly niggas at school or, like, a nigga that's weird. I don't know why, bro. They be having the most interesting conversations. I be relating with them about gaming and
He was bullied so much. So much.
He wasn't bullied as much as the media is pushing, the mainstream media. His guidance counselor at this high school even came out with a statement last night saying, Thomas never came to him for any particular bullying.
What could I have done differently? And there is nothing that we could have done in this case.
So that just lied.
Because there were no signs.
Incident that had been bothering him or had significantly affected him in any way. So,
Did anyone say this kid had the reputation of, if there's gonna be a school shooter, it's gonna be him?
No, I actually can't say that. There's been a lot of articles and interviews that have come out recently that have said that
it's funny.
He was nicknamed the school shooter years prior, and it's just absolutely not true at all. He had some friends that he would keep close to him, and be there for him for what he needs.
It's something I would never expect to happen.
Holy shit. It's like that could be his brother.
You see it happen in Florida, you see it happen here and there, but like here, it's
Florida?
so crazy.
Why does nigga have to say Florida?
Every single day.
Like, bro, you know how many states have school shootings? Conspiracy
One of the
number.
main conspiracies that has emerged is questioning whether Crook worked alone or had outside help. Because after all, how could a 20-year-old kid outsmart the Secret Service? The top conspiracies on who Thomas may have collaborated with include the FBI.
Imagine they had a
shadowy
telegram.
US government.
Imagine Thomas Crooks had a telegram with the government and shit, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna pay you this and this much to go shoot Trump. I ain't gonna lie, it's possible, bro.
Government agent and the Iranians. Let's investigate these claims.
So you think Thomas Crooks only fired once?
Yep. Then they took him out because they had him in the scope for 3 to 4 minutes.
Who the f*** is this?
Shoot 8 bullets.
Looking at this
They're like
guy,
they could be in Red Dead Redemption.
What an intelligence agency would do, it would send this guy a friend, an artificial friend, to create a relationship that was based on the intentions of the intelligence agency, not based on the best. Once they would send in an artificial friend, that friend would start to manipulate some of Thomas's existing behaviors, like his loner behavior, his natural paranoia, his interest in things that were marginally crazy, like bomb making and violence. And they would find a way to validate and encourage his own natural tendencies towards behaviors that were useful to the intelligence organization.
So you're telling me that they made Thomas Crook in a facility?
Did an investigation
Is that what he's trying to say?
found that a cell phone that could be traced to the FBI or near an FBI building visited Tom Crooks at the senior care facility, and this is where the conspiracy lies, that an inside government agent was helping him to carry this out. I take it you're Mike?
How though?
I am Mike.
Okay. One of the things I think is most interesting is your work. The Heritage Foundation came out with something that they traced a phone to Thomas Crooks that may have visited his place of work. Tell me more about that.
We essentially dropped geofences on known locations that Crooks had visited to include his home, place of work, other things that have been publicly reported and confirmed. Located about 9 devices that we, popped in multiple places. The phone that pinged in the known locations of, his home or work, we then traced to a location in Washington, D.C. It pinged there 17 times. These tools are available for investigative purposes, and the
Whoa, that's scary. That actually changes everything. That means the Republicans was trying to take out the Democrat.
FBI and Secret Service have not been forthcoming with any new information about the assassination plot.
So what we're talking about here is known as close associations. Is it a cell phone to cell phone connection? Meaning, did one phone call the other phone? If so, was it a two-way transaction? Was it a one-way transaction? Meaning, was it just an inbound call? Was it an outbound call? Did the calls actually connect? Were there multiple calls? Or is it just what's known as a geolocation association, meaning the phone?
But don't you think, like, if this conspiracy was accurate, don't you think, like, Thomas Crooks would have known that he was dying, and on top of that, would have wrote something like, yeah, Secret Service set me up, or like a message to somebody? You know what I'm saying? Like one of those things, like, left a note saying, Secret Service made me do this.
Was in the same geolocation as another phone. If he worked at a nursing care facility and the FBI officer had, or if it was an FBI officer at all, it could have also been an FBI accountant, it could have been an FBI informant, it could have been an FBI bureaucrat. Were they at the same nursing facility just visiting their mom or their dad or their aunt or their uncle? And they just happened to be geospatially or geolocated at the same location. That's the problem with organizations like the Heritage Foundation. When they actually go to do the investigation, they don't look at all the different possibilities that could help explain why there's an association between the two phones.
That they're going to have to start pulling all the data from the towers, and they're going to have to identify all of the phones that were there. They're going to have to look back in time too, pull the data from around whatever cell coverage was at his home, because if you look at where his home is compared to where the site is, they're not close to each other and they would not be the same cell towers.
Another suspicious detail is that he happened to train at a gun range where FBI guys were known to train, and that's where some people speculate that if a connection was made there.
In this rural part of Pennsylvania where he's from, there's not a lot of options for where you might be able to train. When you combine the fact that an FBI cell phone was geolocated close to Thomas Crook at his workplace, and then you also consider the fact that an FBI officer or FBI presence was known to train at the same gun range. Was there some sort of existing relationship between him and some FBI associate? Or was FBI covertly surveilling Crooks and
what does FBI even stand
putting
for?
Themselves in a location where they were following him to his workplace and or following him to the gun range? Or was Crooks himself following known FBI agents?
Law enforcement sometimes uses private ranges or public ranges that are open.
W clip farm, like, I don't know what it means. Federal Bureau of Investigation. Oh, I heard of that before.
Open to the public. That doesn't mean that they're necessarily in conspiracy with an individual at that range.
Last two are pop up, double tap. That's the guy from, I think, inside. That's your second shooter that they took out from inside, I believe.
There may be a second shooter additional to Thomas Crook. Do you have any insights on that?
We have eyewitness accounts that there were 8 shells besides Crook's body.
Wait, what did he just say? Did Trump stage this?
Almost immediately after the news broke, a left-wing conspiracy began circulating that Trump staged this event. Some said this was a way to divert attention from the news that Trump was named in the Epstein files, and others said this was just a publicity stunt to boost his polling numbers. Because after all, they said, the camera person that took this photo was ushered in front of the stage by the Secret Service at the absolute perfect moment.
I ain't gonna lie, that's a terrible conspiracy.
This is what the internet had to say.
Why has Donald Trump's ear healed so quickly after being shot? For the first time since the assassination attempt earlier this month, Trump has been seen without the bandage that covered his ear. Everyone on the internet is puzzled by the absence of stitches or visible scars on the former president. Recent photos from a meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu show Trump's ear looking remarkably unscathed.
I cannot believe what I'm hearing right now. To say that
hate humans. Like, really just sit down on TikTok and be like, oh my god, this was rigged, bro. This was for Trump to get more votes.
That Donald Trump's assassination was staged is just wild.
If you wanted to stage an assassination, you would shoot 35, 40 degrees off target, well away from anybody accidentally getting hit.
The other thing that caused
That's another thing. A nigga died.
people that think Trump staged this are the questions surrounding his ear. Did he use fake blood? Did he trust a shooter to graze his ear? Did his ear truly get hit by a bullet? And if so, how did it heal so damn fast? What's nonsense?
Whoa, popping a blood packet? I ain't gonna lie, niggas would have seen that though.
And what's fact? Let's ask the experts to give their opinions on this.
Who said that Trump was shot through the ear with a bullet? This here's a picture of Trump's ear from no less than 6 days ago.
So I don't know, I would trust that this is a photo from 6 days ago first. The next thing I would want to know is, what did the bullet wound look like immediately after the gunshot? The wound was very superficial. It actually happened to Donald Trump's ear. You can actually...
And if you didn't know, your ear is where, like, isn't it where the most blood comes out of, or is that the pinky? Or no, it's the toe. I'm sorry, it's the foot.
See that the body of the ear itself is still attached. So the upper part of the lobe is still there. In fact, it looks like it was just this back area here that was nicked, and that's where all the blood came from. So not only would the wound have healed and the bleeding would have stopped, but then on top of that, you can see that he's under heavy makeup because it's a press appearance. So the makeup would have actually covered up the spot where this...
I mean, you gotta think, bro. It was a little boo-boo. Bro, that happened a month ago. My boo-boo recovers in a month.
Specific nick or the specific penetration would have happened.
No one is going to stage something like this to be nicked by a bullet. You could very easily be killed. So I don't believe that this was staged in any way. I do not see that as being a correct theory.
No way that's true. I mean, unless there's somebody else right over there hiding with a badass optics weapon that fired its own simultaneous shot on a countdown and all this other shit, which didn't happen.
We also have 3 people that were critically injured and one who passed away.
Yeah, bro, like literally innocent lives.
Saying that it was, you know, all
Come
like
on
an inside job. And
when have you ever seen a rigged shooting? Like, ever? And even if it was rigged, their intent was to kill.
Stuff like that. I think that a lot of them are not much but conspiracy theories.
Yeah, I was 3 rows off the stage. You know, we heard gunshots, and I just kind of, I ducked down and started praying I wasn't going to get shot, man. There was 2 people shot right behind me. I mean, I don't think that's real. I mean, we saw, you know, pictures, and I had family members that were right beside Corey. It's reality.
Only 2 weeks later, his ear looks like this.
Oh, wow.
What do you make of that?
Like it's back to seemed like it healed very quickly. Too quickly.
Yeah, I can't really
Too quickly.
You can do an awful lot with makeup.
I'm saying, bro, like, this nigga be on stage OD every day, boy. He obviously wearing makeup. Wait, what was it? The cameraman shooter. Huh?
I can totally tell you the exact 100% details of this entire day from my seat. That young man that was on the roof was just a decoy. Okay? I had to download my complete video when I got home, and I put it on a hard drive. And I can't unsee what I saw. It was a cameraman that took the shot on Trump when he turned his head.
Come on, my. If this old man took the fucking shot, we would have all seen it, dumbass.
Are you kind of like checking your windows a little bit to see if unmarked cars, like feds, are by your house?
Right now I'm looking over my shoulder even though I'm pulling out of work.
Holy mother shit, what the hell is going on?
We got connected with a man who claimed to have information that was...
Of course he looks like that.
...to expose what really happened on July 13th. This man, Todd, who attended the Butler rally, said he had cell phone footage that proved the conspiracy of a second shooter. Scared that the government was going to kill him for this information, Todd had us meet him at a local gas station to give us the details. Here's what we learned.
The way this nigga is serious, bro. Like, oh my god, bro.
Nice to meet you.
You act like if they wanted to find you, they're not gonna find you. Like, they are the government.
No pictures yet. No pictures yet?
After getting to know Todd, he told us we could interview him at his own home. The following audio is a recording taken before entering. Yo, this guy ain't
Turned around and
serious.
just started haymaker in that crowd. So many people were hit that you guys don't even know. While his back was turned, this is when the state policeman and that man in black, they grabbed him and boom, 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 boom. Cameraman. After they killed him, you can see his feet dragging like this.
Was this death reported?
I mean, there's ain't telling you anybody that. They're telling you about this weirdo on the roof whose elevator hasn't left the first floor yet. You take a look at this kid? Oh, we interviewed his parents. Did you? Where was that interview at? Oh, he had explosives in a van? Where the footage of that? You're gonna call me off burner phones?
What are
and
you saying?
You release that video, you're a dead mother. All right. Am I? Buddy, I'm not hard to find, and I'm well known in this town. I'm a good man. I'm not a nice guy, I'm a good man. There's a difference. I will splatter you like pizza. Nothing like your asshole so puckered up. It's like, motherfucker, this is up. I can't believe this. I'm in the house.
Asshole puckered up.
Sunday after my wife and children left, leaning up against the wall, looking out the glass door so I can see the front door. Waiting. Lock that door.
Do you mind if we start recording?
The day of the Donald Trump rally, I videoed what was going on. I was up close and personal off to Donald Trump's left hip. What initially caught my attention was a couple young men in the crowd that were throwing some harassment towards one of the speakers on the stage. So when he walked out through the throughway of where the Secret Service would be coming through, I'm sure he was given a little bit of a lecture, but during that time, he was also giving some hand signals, continuing the conversation. What caught my eye was a cameraman in a backpack, but it was a pole, an extension pole that come up and over. I kept my attention to this man and watched what he was doing. He looked as if he did not play the part simply because he looked like just the average guy walking out of Walmart. After Donald Trump was speaking, when Donald Trump initially had turned his head, this cameraman had a clear shot to the back of Donald Trump's head to where he fired multiple shots. The first one no doubt missed. The second one clipped his ear. You could tell by the photographs in my video that you can tell it is an exit wound. And you see the third shot to where he's getting down.
You saw with your own two eyes this guy take shots at Donald Trump?
Yes. I was still holding my phone going like this and witnessed what had happened. This man then had turned and fired several into the crowd before a man in black and a state cop that was heavier set, probably 6 foot, 250 pounds, had gripped him up, gripped meaning the cameraman, and fired on him 4 times, killing him. Many people were there talking about this man on the roof. That man was just a decoy. This cameraman was the intended assassin to kill Donald Trump, plain and simple.
Really, dude?
I think Thomas Cook was a decoy.
I think Thomas Cook is 100% a decoy. Without a doubt. You cannot deny.
Do you know how many people would have been on, like I don't think you understand, like, if this was true, so many people would have came out and said something. Act like the at the Trump rally were just NPCs and they don't have social media.
Facts with evidence.
Do you still have a copy of that on your phone? Did you delete it off your phone?
To put it on a hard drive. I kept an edited version on my phone just to hold.
Why didn't you keep the unedited version on your phone too?
Simply because I knew what I had. My life for sure is in danger with detrimental information. Every day.
He want to talk about, yeah, I got the unedited version, but I deleted it.
I'm glad I wake up. Because I don't know if tomorrow is the last day. I don't know if 10 minutes from now when I walk outside.
That's anything in life, dumbass. That's literally anything in life.
Those copies, watch the video with you and break it down for the American people.
I would need 1 day of time to go and get this.
If we met you tomorrow, that would be enough time?
Probably tomorrow, probably about 3 o'clock. Where this video that I initially sent into the higher ups of DC, they are working on the investigation as we speak.
How'd you send it to them?
I sent it to them through VIA email.
You sent it to the literal people you don't want chasing you down. That's like going to the chum bucket and giving up the Krusty Krab formula to Plankton. And being like, oh, Plankton, please don't steal my formula.
And text.
All right, now that we can look at it?
That is all taken from this phone. Simply This phone that you're looking at right here, right now, guaranteed is bugged.
How about this? You stay safe for 24 hours, we'll stay safe for 24 hours, and we'll rendezvous and make this thing happen?
That sounds like a plan.
I feel like he didn't hit him up after this.
My take on the cameraman was he was here Friday night with us at the volunteer setup. I have countless pictures of him here on Saturday. He definitely was a suspicious person, but I'm not sure what his involvement was.
If you're a cameraman, why are you there Saturday morning helping park cars or help people if you're there to video Trump? Think about it. Yeah.
What the f***? Niggas act like, bro, cameraman was his only job. If he's working at the place, he's obviously going to want to help others.
And this stuff's
What
down
am
at
I
the local
hearing?
distillery bar.
Bro was just doing his job.
Missing links. He left stuff down there, all of his camera stuff. And he never come back and got it yet. Why is that?
At this very brewery behind me, apparently he left his equipment and he since hasn't been seen again. So we're gonna see if there's any truth to this and see what people have to say. Does it sound plausible?
No. Well, he doesn't look familiar. He was not here that I recall.
Brought his camera equipment to this very restaurant,
link.
and then after that,
God.
he disappeared permanently.
Oh. We have 4 people here. Correct.
Okay, let me ask
But
you.
even before that, there was only a few tables here before that.
After speaking with the waitresses at Missing Links, I wanted to follow up with Todd to get his take. Unfortunately, he went ghost.
That shit's fake. That conspiracy theory's fake. I already knew this was gonna happen. It was like, tomorrow we can meet up at 3 p.m. Todd's little scary ass knew that he fucked up and his conspiracy theory was ass.
While I was sitting wondering whether the government got him, he had no video at all.
He didn't
finally
have a
got back
video.
to me, telling me to hang tight that he was at lunch feeding his face. I waited for a call from him, but never got one. And when I texted him with the knowledge I learned from the waitresses, he left me on red. Until Todd sends me the video, I'm gonna go out on a limb and consider this conspiracy debunked.
Not you, Tommy G. You're not a loser, baby girl.
While many assume that incompetence is behind the Secret Service's failure on July 13th, one conspiracy floating around is that they intentionally allowed Thomas to take the shot. The questions that have been raised are, how could a kid like Thomas possibly get anywhere near the former president after being found at the rally with a rangefinder? Why was
You
the
know,
Secret Service
honestly,
sniper
bro,
not-
like, you know what I think? This nigga was a Democrat. He didn't like Trump. He felt like his country's gonna get ruined, and he shot Trump. Nigga, how hard is it? It's not rocket science. I don't know why there has to be a conspiracy theory for fucking everything.
given clearance to take out Crooks if he was spotted with a rifle on the roof? And is it possible that President Biden assigned a B-team security detail to Trump in order to let Crook take the shot? And if all of this was simply a bad day for the Secret Service where mistakes were made, are DEI hiring tactics to blame? Let's explore these questions.
One of the main conspiracies we're investigating is whether this was intentional by the Secret Service, that the job was so bad that this was an intentional effort to let Thomas Crook take the shot, or was this just massive incompetence?
It was not an intentional doing of the Secret Service. Over the course of my career, there is no one that I have ever come in contact with in the U.S. Secret Service that is not willing to do their job, which means to take a bullet for an individual that we are protecting.
The argument that a 20-year-old kid couldn't outsmart Secret Service is a valid argument. A 20-year-old kid like this cannot outsmart Secret Service. However, if you've ever watched a professional football game and you've seen a professional NFL quarterback fumble a ball, that's more akin to what actually happened that day in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Or a good analogy is you have a pro team and there's people that run in the middle of the field. You can't stop everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's been times people ran in the middle of the field and they don't catch them. The trash-ass security guards. It's just a up on their part.
They made a mistake. And then they made compounding mistakes on top of that. Whether or not he had an inside assist is a question that is still to be answered. The simplest solution is often the most accurate solution. And the simplest solution here really is that in a rural county during a political rally, a kid was able to get up on a roof with a gun and take a shot at a former president because the Secret Service left a gap in their security perimeter.
So we're at the building right now that Crook
I like that
took the
guy.
shot
He's straightforward.
from. I see the security coming up too. We'll pay them no mind. But this is the building that Thomas Crooks was on, navigating as he took the shot in plain sight for about 90 minutes before he did it.
You have to exit the property.
Huh? This is for your trespass. You have to exit the property.
Hey, who are you?
I'm security. You have to exit the property. You get trespassing charges, please.
Security of this?
Yes. Can you please exit?
Are you a government agent?
Please exit the property, or you get trespassing charges.
Okay, we'll get walking. We'll get walking.
This way, please. You guys, excuse me. You get exit this way here?
Our car is on that side.
I know. You got to exit this way, though, please.
You have to exit this way?
I'm
not trying to be difficult.
You're trespassing. Now, I can call the cops to get you cited for trespassing.
I hear that.
Can you please?
We're going to walk this way. Where's the
No,
sidewalk?
you're on property. I'm about to call the cops and you get trespassing charges. Can you please exit?
We're going to exit this way.
No,
I'm
this
literally
way,
exiting. Because of the easy vantage points, it begs the question, why was this not scoped out? Why was this...
Yo, now niggas want to do security, bro. But where was that when this whole Trump happened?
Something that was just left.
I say we blame that guy.
Left for a kid that was cited for about 90 minutes to be allowed to be on premise, on site. This isn't a city where they have millions of skyscrapers to hide in. This is like the one spot of the area, which makes the whole thing even more interesting. And it goes further into the conspiracy, whether it was incompetence or on purpose. So, and also, isn't it interesting too that just filming this, security is there to apprehend you, but Thomas Crook was able to make it through. We're supposedly SWAT team, law enforcement.
Yeah, where the f was security?
All congregated. How is it you think that Thomas?
I don't know.
Crook
I feel like the Secret Service was kind of in on it. Like if something was to happen, they didn't give a f that day.
Yeah.
Which is a little suspect.
Evade detection, because I mean, when you scan the situation, that is a pretty obvious building to lock down, and the fact that the Secret Service didn't. They're supposed to be elite. They're supposed to hold it down. Like, what do you think happened?
I mean, I think there was a lack of security of the day.
Got no drip.
Communication between our local sniper teams and the Secret Service. I mean, I was here Friday night, and for the volunteer setup, I was able to drive my vehicle right and park 5 feet from the stage. I was never searched or nothing. I've never saw that before. I mean, I've volunteered at plenty of events, and this is the first time I was able to drive right up to the stage. So
you've covered other Trump events before?
Yeah, 22 of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so describe the difference between those 22 and this one.
So they're typically locked down 36 hours prior to the rally. This one was still completely unlocked 12 hours prior to the rally. Usually you're searched, vetted, background checks to even get anywhere near that place Friday night. None of that happened.
So what was it like that day? And I guess let's first...
And that's another thing. These usually happen inside, so it was very suspect that they allowed it to happen outside.
Focus on the security of the event. The day before, the day of, what was it like?
There was no security for the event on Friday. There was nothing. I could have drove right in. I had my truck, we drove right in, right through the door, and pulled right up, and there's nobody around. We had to walk around just to find anyone.
And was this your first Trump rally?
Oh, no. We've been down to Trump's house in Mar-a-Lago many times. We go to a lot of rallies. We go over to
this was definitely at Epstein Island.
United States and do stuff for him and whatever we need to do.
So, Danny, you did perimeter security for which president?
Clinton.
So as you're looking at an area, what are the primary things that you're thinking about in securing a location?
Set up a perimeter, first of all, like they did. I think they pretty much did that. Then also, anything high, you need to have an unobstructed view from a higher place, like either seated somewhere high or have a drone.
Yeah, so I was at the rally 15 feet behind Trump and the Secret Service. You know, a few things I noticed were the security at the magnetometers, the metal detectors when you walk in, was quick and not very thorough. The 3 bleachers where Corey was fatally wounded and 2 others were critically wounded was supposed to be wristbands, VIP only. That was not the case. It was quite unorganized, and it was very surprising that an event of this magnitude was organized in such a poorly way. Right there on those 4 vents is where Thomas Crook was stationed when he was shooting at the stage that Trump was on. The counter-assault teams were on that building, and another building that we can't see, but that is the building that Thomas Crooks was on with the 4 vents on it, and this is very similar to where Trump's stage was.
So there was no one on either of these 2 buildings besides Thomas Crook?
There was local police located inside that building.
But not on top?
Not on top.
That seemed like such an obvious thing. Does it seem inconceivable that they were not on top of the roof?
Yeah,
so you're telling me
a drone doing something? Or?
You're telling me there was cops inside of the building and they didn't hear a climbing on a f***ing roof?
I mean, something, but personnel is
what
better.
The f***?
It's also important to mention that they weren't right
or any camera detection.
where that 16 is. That's where that one Secret Service counter sniper team was. And you could say
that roof right there.
That roof on building 16.
That's where the fatal shot was taken.
No, that's just where one counter sniper team was.
The sniper team that was up on this.
On top of that, people seen this Thomas Crooks hop on the roof, and they literally started saying something, and they acted like they didn't see it, like the cops.
Roof here. They readjust. The guy who's up on the tripod, he readjusts. He pulls that tripod back and then re-engages his scope and actually lowers the muzzle. So when CS comes out, survey of an area, counter sniper. So they're going to do their own survey of an area. And what they do is they're looking at lines of sight, and they're going to look at what's going to be in their area of responsibility. Once they've identified that, they're locked into that area of responsibility. So that team could have been watching something over here. Could have been the tower. Depends on how much, you know, and how much they were going to cover and what the terrain is.
So even if you were called in to identify somebody in this vicinity, there's like 5 buildings here, and they all look the same. Like, that's not an easy task.
With how little ground there's to cover, you don't think it's that easy to
There's
find?
5 buildings back there. They didn't know there was going to be a rooftop shooter. What they had to be ready for was any kind of shooter, and any kind of bomb, and any kind of physical threat, and any kind of...
Nah, this Colin Kaepernick low-key spitting. I was wondering why they were like so slow to like shoot the guy back. They probably thought he was on the ground.
Driver. So we're looking at all of this through the lens of how did that counter sniper team not shoot?
Because we already know how the story unfolded.
Right, but if you put yourself in the Secret Service shoes, the morning of the 5 minutes before
hindsight is always 20/20. Okay, we get the benefit of knowing everything now in time since it happened.
Jill Biden had an indoor event where there were apparently many more Secret Service agents assigned to her rally than Trump in an outdoor rally. What do you make of that?
Well, she's the First Lady of the United States. She is entitled to U.S. Secret Service protection. In terms of manpower, she is what's considered a satellite detail under the President's detail. They're going to make assessments as to what is needed for each event, the type of event, the location of the event, the number of people in attendance, how are they going to do the screening. When you have 2 events in the same area, there is going to be a dissipation of manpower.
So strategically, Thomas Crook chose a bad location.
Oh yeah.
Why is that?
Well, one, they can see you most likely. Somebody over there can see you. Because as soon as you hit that crest, somebody knows you're up there. So whether or not you shoot him immediately, that's another story I don't understand yet. Number 2, as soon as he shoots that round, he's not coming off that building. That's it. So you'd want to have a technique. One, it'd be further away by a long ways. Also, it depends if you're a trained sniper, you should be able to take that shot 300 or 400 yards at least. And I wouldn't use an iron-sighted weapon either. I'd use an optic weapon. If you're going to shoot from back there, you need to be a skilled shooter to shoot iron sights, honestly.
And we have to keep in mind that it was 100, 110 degrees on top of it. So
damn, he shot with iron sights?
Must have been a pretty uncomfortable position for him to be in laying prone. And just so people know your experience, what's the distance that you've taken someone out from?
Like 900
yards.
Like yeah, meters.
For the Americans out there, meters, yards, pretty similar.
Yeah,
right?
pretty close.
But we're not talking feet, we're talking yards.
Yep.
To test and see how difficult it is to take the shot at 148 yards, at 450 feet approximately, the Thomas Crook shot. We're gonna have a total amateur.
The Thomas Crook shot.
Myself, I have very little rifle training, a little bit of pistol training, but I am not a good shot by any means. And we're gonna have an expert marksman, a 20-year
Well, didn't Thomas Crooks train though?
Sniper for the special forces.
With the FBI apparently?
Anyone else that cares to take it. So this is what Thomas Crook was spotted with at the rally.
Something similar.
Who besides a sniper or a hunter would want to carry this?
Golfer.
A golfer?
Yeah.
We can't totally recreate the environment. Knowing what I know about you, I think if you just pretend that there's some communists out there, I think you'll be pretty accurate, right?
Probably. There we go.
Damn.
Ooh,
that's nice with it.
For the record, I'm not pretending this is a president. I'm pretending this is a communist.
There it is. There it is.
Just from my reaction of doing this, the chances of only grazing somebody's ear would be ridiculous. So for the people that do say, hey, this is staged, that would be the craziest shot to pull off.
Yeah.
And you would never get an inexperienced marksman to do it. Even a guy that is top in his class.
Yeah.
Would Thomas's elevation have made the shot easier?
Oh yeah, and he didn't have all his grass to deal with because we can't see the whole target right now either.
So he had a target that was a little bit higher, and he had maybe a 10, 12 foot range.
Yeah. And if
he had an
he didn't have
advantage.
enough high angle to where he could compensate a high angle calculation.
The bullet's
He's only
gonna go
like
down.
a little bit. He's almost just barely down.
It said that Thomas Crook was in this.
Yeah, bro, that's crazy. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Imagine heart racing the heat up. They're using iron sights, knowing for sure you're gonna be killed any second. Plus, he was aiming for the head off him. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like, I can't imagine that. Like, the niggas is just asking to die.
Real that bird, been out then, this is a jet, nigga. 5-star dinners, 5 stars on my bitch, nigga. Been 10 fat shit up on my wrist, been him, could've been anything I want, I get, nigga.